think we can all agree that the US economy is broken, which is why I want to show you how to manage your money in 3 simple steps. Now, there's no stimulus check that is going to fix the mess that we are currently in. Even the Federal Reserve says that their plan is to find a pathway towards a soft landing and not a recession. However, that is their plan. We also know that JP Morgan and many other financial institutions are already preparing for a recession as early as the 3rd quarter of 2023, which is coming very quick. So, things are not looking good here in the United States. We even know billionaire investor Bill Ackman says that the US economy is headed for a train wreck due to the Federal Reserve and their constant need to continue hiking interest rates. But, again, this is far from over. With the Federal Reserve continuing to raise rates and with the Treasury Secretary walking back her statement saying that blanket insurance of bank deposits is not even being discussed. This is also causing more panic from Americans as well as the banks. Again, this is why our economy is broken. Financial experts believe that it is only a matter of time before we see accelerated deposit outflows, which is going to put even more pressure on the banking system and going to really hurt the US economy. As of right now, even though it's broken, it is not hurting everybody just yet. This is a problem. Remember, the US economy is broken and it is going to take quite some time to pull us out of this mess, which is exactly why I want to teach you how to manage your money in just 3 simple steps. So, let's get right down to it. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. All I ask is if you can do 2 things, go ahead, hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss an update. But let's get started. So how can you manage your money, or at least manage it better? Well, there's a few things that I like to do. The first thing that I recommend every single person does in order to manage your money is to make sure you are planning for success. Here's why. Did you know that only 35% of people know how much their expenses were the previous month? And I can tell you, and I want to be 100% transparent with this, I personally, if you ask me every single month how much my expenses were the previous month, I could probably tell you, every other month, but in some months, I just don't know. 65% of Americans have no clue what they spent the previous month. That's a problem. And this is shocking. In a recent study, it shows that money is the main form of stress for 44% of people. This is why you need to track your income and your expenses. This is why tracking your monthly income expenses is so important, which is why I highly recommend you get yourself a budget planner. Now, do not get one on an app, okay? Everybody has a smartphone. They can go and get the app and go and get Mint or whatever they want to use. That's fine. Here's the problem. Most people do not even remember, but at the same time, as soon as they start implementing these figures into their phone, a lot of times what they do is they get out of that app and they move over to TikTok and to YouTube and to Facebook and to Instagram and something completely different. Here's what I recommend you do. Here's something that I've recommended to many people. Absolutely love this. Okay, I have one myself. It's called the Clever Fox Budget Planner. This is, right now, it's $22. Comes in a bunch of different colors if you want a different color. But the key to this is it gives you all the information, puts it all there for you. Makes it simple. Makes it easy to follow. Okay? This is why I highly recommend it. Write down your financial goals, your strategy tactics, your debt tracker. And again, this is going to come your monthly budget review, right? You got a Christmas budget, Christmas spending, summary of the year, all these things, right? Expense tracker over here and savings tracker. Got a lot of this stuff. I highly recommend you get something like this. I'll even put a link to this down in the description box below. So if you want to go and get one, go and get it now. Again, I highly recommend it. And I say this because knowing how much money you bring in and how much money goes out every single month is crucial. If your expenses exceed your income, then you need to do one of 2 things. Increase your income or decrease your expenses. It is much easier to get rid of an expense than it is to increase your income. But in the end, it's the same thing. It means more money in your bank account. However, even though I say it's easier to reduce your expenses than it is to increase your income, in the long run, you will see much more success. You'll have better results if you can increase your income. So, in the long run, I'd recommend you do both. Now, the second thing you must do to manage your money a little bit better is to simply reduce one of your two largest expenses. Now, what are these? Well, most Americans, you have two large expenses. One is your home or your apartment, whatever it is, your housing. The second one is your transportation. We could also throw food in there, but food is something that it's not easy to reduce because you have to eat. Okay, obviously you need to spend money on a place to live. You also have to spend money on your transportation. But here's what this means. If you can reduce your housing costs by downgrading, getting less rooms, less square footage, use less utilities, or you can rent one of your rooms or even a space in your garage or a storage shed that you have, or even if you have a spot on the side of your house that you can rent it out to somebody with an RV, do that. Reduce your costs in one way or another. For most people, they struggle with their overall finances because their housing or transportation costs exceed the recommended percentage. For example, most people don't know this, but housing shouldn't equal more than 30% of your overall monthly income. For transportation, this is about 10 to 15%, which is why reducing these costs can be huge. Because let's say you pay 30% in rent or your mortgage, you pay 15% for transportation. This includes fuel, your car payment, insurance, all that. Well, and even maintenance. If you're paying 45% of your monthly take-home pay on just two things, that's a massive amount of money. So here's a couple things you can do. Obviously, I told you what you could do for housing costs, but what about things for transportation? Well, your payment is pretty much locked in. There's not much you can do there. But have you considered shopping around for a better insurance policy? Maybe it's not better, but it has a reduced premium. So that would cut costs. For some people, also consider carpooling to work or to other events. If you can carpool, which means you don't have to use as much fuel every month, then you can save some money. And that's always a good thing. Now, the past two things I talked about, pretty much just tracking your income and expenses, it will help you save a little bit more money. The second one I just talked about was reducing one of the top two expenses. Again, puts more money in your bank account. But what can you do with more money? One of the biggest expenses that people have outside of food, transportation, and housing is their debt. It could be student loans, could be credit cards, it could be medical bills. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. The final step is to pay off your debt. Now, there's two main ways to pay down your debt. And that's actually the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. There's a little graph right here that you can see. The debt snowball focuses on the total debt size as a priority. It does not focus on the interest rate. But what you do is you make minimum payments on each debt monthly. However, you make an extra payment on the smallest loan, because when you do that, when that smallest loan is paid off, you move to the next highest loan amount, and you take the two minimums, right, plus the additional monthly payment, and you put all that into one payment, and then that creates that snowball effect. By the time you're all done, you'll have a big payment going all to one card or account. The debt avalanche, you focus on the highest interest as a priority. Again, it's the exact same thing, but instead of focusing on the smallest debt, you focus on the largest interest payment. That is the way those two work. Now, both of these will work, but what you need to make sure is that you do one of these two things. Because if you have your housing in order, you're paying less than 30%. You have your transportation in order. You're paying less than, let's say, 10%. You have food costs, but those are not too high because, well, you shop at discount stores, you use coupons and things like that. Only buy items that are on sale. Great. You should have more money. Well, how do you manage that money? Well, hopefully you're paying down debt, especially with rising interest rates. One of the best things that you can do right now, and again, I'm not trying to give you financial advice here, but one of the best things that you can do is to get yourself out of debt. Okay? Paying down your debt as fast as possible is always a good thing. Now, if your interest rate on your debt, let's say it's on a home and you got interest rate of 2.75%, well, according to financial experts, it doesn't make sense to pay off your home because you are only getting charged 2.75%. Not a big deal. You could probably put that into the markets or into an ETF or whatever, and you could probably make a little bit more than that. So again, it's really up to you. But saving yourself some money, especially with the recent increases of interest rates, is always a good thing. Not only that, but with less debt, you can then potentially use some of that money, that freed up money, to do the things that you want to do. Maybe it's to go on vacation and travel and fix up your house. Maybe buy new tires for your car. Or maybe you just want to invest. It's now a possibility, when before it wasn't. So, right now that the economy is broken, look at ways to manage your money a little bit better. And these are 3 simple ways that you can manage your money here in 2023. So again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.